Like, do you know what you are? You're the beat in my heart. I shine bright like the stars. Baby, we could go far. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what you are? Like, do you know what you are? You're the beat in my heart. I shine bright like the stars. Baby, we could go far. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what you are? Like, why this silence? Baby, please come back and kiss my eyelids. Oh, I hate myself so much I can't deny it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright, I'll transition over to the thing now in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, I am LoveBot. Today I'll be running The Legend of Spyro the Eternal Night for you guys. And I'm joined on commentary by Mike, CD-ROMatron, that you might have seen a few times this marathon already.
Hello there.
So yeah, we'll be doing the first time save real quick here by going to the options menu and selecting Italian. This was discovered after submitting this game to the marathon, so at first I was a little nervous about my estimate, but that should be completely fine now. We even have a new route and everything as well. But we'll be selecting easy mode, since easy mode is just way faster. And I am ready to go. I'll be running my own split, so hopefully you won't be hearing my split button too much, but yeah, I'm ready to go. If Mike, do you want to give me a countdown?
Sure, can do.
All
so
right.
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And we are off. So first off, there's a lot of text, especially in this first beginning part of the run. It's basically like a tutorial where you're forced into all these text boxes telling you how to jump, how to do certain things. So here in the beginning, there's not a whole lot to talk about. There's one task only kind of movement I can quickly show off, and that is rolling like this, and I'm just gonna show it real quick there because it's not, at least not yet, human viable to do. You need to, like, if you just mess it up once, it's basically slower than just running, so that's all you get. For these relics, I'm trying to always face the wrong way when I pick them up, so I can sneak in a little roll that's faster than running. The same thing here. Here we actually have the first skip of the game. There we go. If we jump right in the middle of his roll, we can skip a text box telling us how to use the fluttering or the hover ability. And just any point in the run, Mike, if you have anything that you see me not remembering or whatever, you just chime in.
Yeah. So just one thing some people might be wondering just off the front is, if this game is so text heavy, why play it on an English version and not, like, Japanese? Because Japanese is generally the language people play for quick text. And just to summarize that quickly, this game was never released in Japan. This game was only ever released in European regions as well as America. And of course, with PAL, we have access to way more languages than the American version does. So we can choose Italian here just because it saves the most time overall. We have the least text to deal with.
And we actually don't know 100% for sure if Dutch is faster. With the test that we did, Dutch and Italian came out at the same speed, but that was only for like the first part of the game. And then we kind of just picked Italian and started saving, I think, like 30 some seconds on the run. So there's definitely a huge time save there. But yeah, we still need to test all of the languages actually to make sure that we haven't missed anything there. The run is still very new, and before the submission I was the only runner with a task as like a tool we could go by. Since then, CD-ROMatron and a third runner has started running the game, and Mike is actually responsible for cutting like almost 1.5 minutes or something with the new route.
Yeah, around about 1.5 minutes or so.
Okay, we'll be making our way over to... We're almost done with like the slow tutorial part here. Now it's told us that enemies exist and how to kill them. And we'll be making our way over here to get the sprint ability, which you will be seeing me do for the most of the run. We got it there. I'll be trying to sneak in as many dash moves or runs or whatever you want to call it as possible. If you double jump, you cancel your dash, or if you hit a big enemy, those small flies will not cancel it, but you will stop for like a few frames if you hit an enemy. But yeah, bigger enemies will completely stop your sprint. So we try not to hit too many of those.
Yeah, there are a lot of points in this game where bonking into a wall or something, or a big enemy, is really slow. So sometimes it can be a bit faster to just not sprint in some places and just walk around them, because you'll lose so much time by just bonking into a single enemy.
Yeah. Here we got some more text. Here we meet our girlfriend. I think she's called Cinder in English, but I noticed today that all the names except for Sparks and Spyro changes names in Italian. Even the end boss, whose name is Gaul, is named Demon in Italian for some reason. But yeah, here we're making our way into the first temple. There will be 4 temples with an element each, and maybe you noticed I forgot to say that Spyro actually takes a nap, and this is inside Spyro's own mind. To be honest, I don't really understand what's going on in this game. I only just, like, running the game hasn't been that long, and I only did like one casual playthrough first where I didn't exactly pay too much attention to the story.
The story is very convoluted, that's about all you need to know. And most of it doesn't even make sense because... So this is the reboot, essentially, of the Spyro the Dragon franchise. This is the Legend of Spyro. So a lot of the story is based off the previous game, A New Beginning. So without the context of that, even explaining most of the stuff that's in this game story-wise wouldn't make sense with the context of that.
Yeah, and I haven't played A New Beginning yet. I had planned to try it out at some point, but I haven't gone to it yet. It looks worse than this game, just visually. Actually, this game is surprisingly really pretty, I'd say, for a Game Boy Advance game. So here we have the first boss of the game, the Fire Spirit, and he's not playing nice right now. Where we will get our first breath, the Fire Breath. Let's see if we can get him down without too much trouble. And I'll probably take damage. Oh, no, I thought I was standing on the lava there. That was okay, actually. That first segment of the game, not too bad. Some more story stuff that we don't really know. This is the end boss, Gaul, right there. Showing himself. And we need to, every time we go into a temple, we actually need to physically leave it again, and then Spyro will wake up back in the real game world. A little bit more story. Here we meet Ignitus, which I also don't know which significance has to Spyro. I also didn't play many of the original Spyro games, so if there's any crossover story there, I probably won't catch it. And also thank you so much for the good luck in chat. And for the few people that I know who came around. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of text mashing here, and sadly there's no way to skip it. There's no way to like faster alternate mash between A and B or anything. It's just, you just gotta mash.
Yeah, there's some really long cutscenes which are like fully animated segments. However, those are completely skippable. But all of these, just like, you know, in the platforming stages, just text. We just need to mash through. There's no way of skipping through them, unfortunately.
Shit. This ledge is oddly tricky. You can actually, as I just demonstrated, you can jump from a specific place where it looks like you would grab the ledge, but Spyro just doesn't. And oh, I completely forgot to mention flying enemies. They will be a pain in the ass during the run. Here in the beginning they're not too difficult, but you can be super unlucky in a few places where we want to skip some platforming because the usual way is slow. We try to go the fast way, and there is these flies that will mess up the game for us. We call it the Italian flies. because they were weirdly aggressive the first run we did on Italian, so we adopted the Italian flies now.
Yeah, but the real problem with the flies is they're really easy to kill. Like all the fly enemies in this game just need a single hit, and because we're playing on easy difficulty, they do almost no damage. The main problem is the fact that the knockback on them is huge, and that causes you to lose a lot of time throughout the run. Getting hit by a single one would cost somewhere around like 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, they can swarm you real easy.
Yeah, they can swarm you, and sometimes they'll knock you down from high heights as well, so you have to climb back up.
And did this game come before the 3D version? I actually don't know exactly when this was released in terms of like the console games, but I would assume that this came out later, just because that's how I think it usually is, right? Like it gets
yes, yeah, this came out the same time as the PS2 one, but before the Wii one.
Okay. But we'll just be making our way through what's probably one of the most mazy parts of the game here. The Earth Temple. Oh. And not doing too hot right there. Some of those enemies, that's actually one thing we forgot to mention. Enemies can spawn a little bit randomly. I haven't figured out, or we haven't really figured out exactly how it happens, but some enemies will sometimes be there and sometimes not.
Yeah, I have a few theories as to why some enemies appear and why some enemies don't, but I haven't been able to find anything concrete yet.
No.
All we know at the moment is that there's a few enemies which it is fairly inconsistent. I'm not going to go out and just straight up say it's RNG at the moment, but there is inconsistencies at best. And it's going to be a matter of if we can find out what caused those inconsistencies, that will allow us to optimize this game even further than it already is.
So for this boss, I'll be trying to roll away from his attack just in time to not get hit by him. There we go. Because getting hit by him sends you back quite a bit, and it's like a 2-second time loss every single time you get hit by him. So we don't want to get hit. So that was relatively clean. Now we'll be making our way to the third boss, or the actual, like the first real world boss, you could say, Naga. Before that, we have a little bit of... Wait, oh, what just happened? I accidentally clicked up. That's the first time that has happened. Marathon luck, right? So yeah, we have a little bit of way to go before Naga. Some caves we need to go through, which has a lot of flying enemies. And a slight detour to get a damage upgrade that was routed in by Mike very recently. So this is the place I was talking about where we want to skip some platforming, but these flies can half the time give you a good time, and right now they're giving me a bad time. There we go. That was pretty messy, not gonna lie. But you're kind of just in the mercy of how the flies behave there. So it could have been way worse for sure, but...
Yeah. Sometimes you can get lucky and the little dragonfly that's following Spyro will sometimes just kill them. However, that just seems to be completely random at best.
Yeah. And it's very rare, it seems. There we use the Earth Breath to move enemies away. It's pretty good for that. That's mainly what we use Earth Breath for, and then for bosses it's pretty powerful. And see, there's a small optimization if I can get it here. Yeah, we got it. Just like the skip in the beginning of the game, you can kind of jump while you're in a roll. And that can skip just a single jump actually there. Nothing major, but we'll take all the time saves we can get. Get some sprint in. Sometimes when you'll see me not sprint and think like, why is not sprinting, I'm playing on a Game Boy Advance, like an original Game Boy Advance, and the D-pad, even though I like the D-pad, I'm not too keen on it for mashing, like double tapping and so on. And that's how you trigger the sprint, is by double tapping in the direction.
Yeah,
So-
the controls for this game are fairly limited, mostly because you're only dealing with 2 buttons, 2 triggers, and D-pad.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is a very annoying part of the run, as you can probably imagine with all those flies. Well, we got it relatively fast, I'd say. So, just about to get to Naga here. Last bit of like tricky platforming where the flies can give you the bad dick. That's not... Come on. Okay. We're quite behind time here, comparing to like the standard, but it's fine. Nothing major has gone wrong yet. So this is, as I was mentioning, like the third boss, but the actual first boss that is not like in Spyro's own mind, as all the temple stuff is. This boss is pretty easy, I'd say. It has one gimmick, and that is like his shield. He will hold out for the most of the fight. You can ignore his shield, like the task completely ignores his shield and just only attacks him when his shield is down. I cannot figure out exactly how to do that without wasting a bunch of time just waiting for him. So I'm gonna just pummel him down and try to destroy his shield. And obviously whenever his shield is not up, I'm trying to put in as much damage as I possibly can. But when his shield breaks, it will be a lot easier. He basically can't protect himself at all then, and he will die very fast. There we go, shield is gone, and he's just gonna get destroyed. And for this boss, for some reason, you need to pick up all the gems, otherwise the encounter won't stop. And that is the only boss in the game where that is the case. But yeah, now we are getting captured by pirates. And again, I could not tell you why.
So I was looking this game up online, and apparently they're apes.
Oh, they're apes?
I'm like, that's news to me. They don't look like apes.
No, I was just thinking there was some kind of monster. But I guess it makes sense. They're brown and does have a tail, and yeah. Okay, so there's monkey pirates, apparently. But yeah, this is a relatively annoying part of the run, I'd say, because this introduces dog enemies, or yeah, I guess they're kind of dogs. We should actually have seen one already, but it didn't spawn. That is what can happen sometimes, and I don't mind that. But yeah, those are like flying enemies in the sense of that they die in one hit, but they charge at you and knock you back. There's gonna be one right here. There we go. I tried to jump over him. It's very possible to do so, but the timing is a little bit tricky. We just wanna keep going. Okay, so this is the first battle arena where we will be fighting a type of boss called Advisor. We'll be fighting him 3 times, but first Spyro has a little mental trip again, and we have to go inside his mind and do the third temple, the ice one. But we have a little bit of a fight here first, so I'm gonna try and move... Okay, he wasn't playing nice. I was gonna try and move all these enemies together into one. But he didn't wanna play nice, so I'm just gonna try and kill him manually. Okay, that one is dead. There we go. So yeah, as mentioned, Spyro takes a little nap there again. Goodbye. And now the ice temple. This is both the most fun and most annoying level, I'd say. Or could be anyway. It's fun because it has some pretty tricky platforming that is like unique to this thing. But it also has ice physics, which is just never super great. Trying to get this dog, there we go, without him seeing me. And there's another dog here. Got him. Okay, so here we'll be getting the ice breath that we'll be using to create platforms on water. Besides that, we'll not really be using that breath for any like fights or something like that.
Yeah, this game does support kind of like a type chart type thing like Pokemon, where certain breaths are good against certain attributes of enemies. However, there's very few places where ice would be helpful, because ice is good against fire, and we've already done the fire temple.
Yeah, you can actually, if we haven't decided what is like 100% completely yet, but if you were to do 100%, you actually need to revisit the temples with, for example, you need to revisit ice with you know, the lightning breath and so on that you'll get later on in the game. So there is some backtracking you need to do for max percenting the game.
Yeah, these temples are a lot larger than we're leading on here. There's still a lot to explore. There's a lot of power-ups we're not collecting here, like these relics. And there's just a lot of like crystals and such around as well to collect. So a lot of gems.
This boss can be a pain in the ass because you are on ice, and every time he hits you and knocks you back, you have to fight the ice physics getting back there. So we want to try and get him into the corner, which I very much just failed at. Okay, so we'll just try and pummel him down with fire breath. There we go. That was
It's arguably one of the most uncooperative bosses in the game, unfortunately.
yeah, and that actually went pretty okay considering that we didn't get him into the corner. Okay, so now I think Advisor is getting a little pep talk by the end boss and being sent out to get us. That's how I understand it anyway. So this is the first like actual hard boss, Advisor. We got some strat for him to like kind of keep him in a juggle. This game has a weirdly deep combat system that reminds you of like a fighting game or brawler, I'd say. So we want to keep him in a juggle for the majority of the fight. And the way that I'm doing it is not 100% optimal, I'd say. You could probably get a juggle type in that is way better than what I'm doing. But this is tested and proven and it works. So I'm not going to attempt anything completely nuts at a marathon. We'll just try and do it the regular way. And that is by only using fire breath. I think if you were to incorporate earth breath, you'll probably do faster.
Yeah, I've been playing around with the earth breath recently, and you can do some fun things with it, but I haven't come to any definite conclusions about it yet.
Okay, that was a mistake. Nothing too major though. So if he gets out of the juggle and starts jumping around, it is best to just wait for him to get back. If you start trying to chase him, you won't get him back into this nice juggle, and it's just gonna take longer. So just take it easy. But yeah, that was Advisor 1. We got him in a relatively good juggle. He only got out like a few times. And that seems kinda RNG. You can keep doing your juggle perfectly every time, but whenever, like, it's hard to explain, but at the end of the juggle, he can choose to roll to either left or right, and you want him to roll to the opposite side of where he just was. He doesn't always do that, and when he doesn't, you kind of drop your roll and have to do it again, or drop your combo, sorry. Okay, so we'll be making our way through the rest of the ship now towards the next boss, which is called Scab, and has some pretty terrible RNG, or can have anyway. He has a few different attacks. I think he actually has 3 attacks. I've just only seen him do his 3rd attack once ever, so I don't know if that's honestly something I dreamt or if
I've never even heard of that, so...
No, I'm seriously, because I've only seen it that one time, I'm seriously thinking like, did I dream it? Because I can't even remember what type of attack it was. I just seem to recall something happened. But anyway, he has 2 main things that he can do. He can shoot a big cannonball, which is what we want him to do, because you need to knock that into him to make him vulnerable. Or he can shoot like his small hand cannon, which we don't want him to do. The goal here is to try and 3-cycle the boss. Which is why we went out of route to pick up a damage upgrade. This is like the main part of where we will save time with that. If we can get it 3 cycles, that is. There's a chance that I don't, but it looks pretty good. I did also have a good amount of energy coming in here, and we got the perfect RNG. And I didn't miss a cycle, and we get him on 3rd. That was actually a really good fight. That was actually a gold split by like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah, that was a really good Scab fight. That was like, again, the best RNG you can get, and we got the 3 cycles, which is the goal, so that was very nice.
Plus, that bird that was flying around can be a real pain sometimes. He was just nothing there. We barely even saw him.
Yeah, he can knock you on the opposite side of the boss, which is not the biggest deal, but it is kind of annoying because when you're used to doing it in a set way, yeah, it's just change is annoying. So here we'll be getting our last damage upgrade. And we'll be getting the lightning breath in just a few seconds here. As soon as I make my way over there. Here it is. We need to do a little tricky wall climb segment here to get out again. It's not like impossible or anything to do, but it is a little bit tricky. Here. And I actually failed it the first time. There we go. Not too big of a deal. So yeah, we'll just be making our way through the rest of the lightning temple here and then fight the lightning spirit, which is oddly different from the rest of the spirits that we've been fighting. So far all the spirits are like golem type monsters. This one is just kind of a prism. You'll see what I mean in a second. The goal here is to try and one cycle the boss. It is very possible to do, especially with the damage upgrades that we got now. But it again requires a little bit of good RNG because he spawns a lot of small wisps. And if the wisps spawn a lot on like the side that you are at, and they start hitting you a lot, you kind of get knocked away and it just becomes very hard to get the one cycle. And I actually messed up there.
Yeah, the wisps that are flying around are basically the same as the flying enemies, where they only require one hit, and the main problem with them is a large amount of knockback. However, Spyro's attacks are large enough that if you're lucky, the wisps just spawn where you're attacking the boss anyway, so that you never actually need to worry about the wisps. But once again, that just kind of comes down to RNG or where the wisps decide to fly. And if you get unlucky with the wisps, you just can't one cycle the boss, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we didn't get the one cycle there, but it was really good, and we got like a fast 2 cycle, which is the best thing you can then get. So that was okay. Now we have to fight Advisor again. That is the next thing. First we have to make our way out the temple. A little bit more text. There's plenty of text. Okay, so yeah, we have to make our way through this temple and to get to Advisor. These temples have a little bit of RNG in terms of enemy spawns. Again, there's a few places where we want snails to either not spawn or spawn in a very specific way so we can damage a boost through it. And I'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah, these snails generally have a large amount of health, so anytime a snail, we can just bypass a snail, we're going to try to take that opportunity. Because killing a snail takes forever.
Yeah. They do drop a lot of stuff, like if you're very low on HP it can be beneficial, but what drops from enemies is random. So they will mostly always drop some energy and some life, but if it's 3 gems of life and 1 of energy or vice versa, it's random. And there we actually just, that little corridor that was completely empty usually has a snail, and this snail spawned in the perfect spot so we could get through him like that. If it was just a few centimeters more to the left, we couldn't get past him because of the spikes there. So here we have Advisor again. It's essentially the same fight, he's just faster now. So you have smaller window of time between the juggles where he can retaliate. And as you just saw, he actually just retaliated in the middle of me juggling him there. But I'll just be following the same pattern as I did for the first fight here. Oh shit. There we go. And yeah, we need to fight him one more time, but before that we have one more level that we need to do, which is very similar to the one that we just did. It's just a little bit more mazy and has more flying enemies that will ruin our day, or try to anyway. Could you not? Thank you. But yeah, so far the run has actually been going okay, I'd say. There was a little case of, I call them pseudo air dashes. The game actually has a true air dash move which the TAS is using constantly throughout the run. We've tried routing it in and it just seems very, very difficult to do as a human being without it being slower. But there is
Yeah,
a... Oh, it's just, but you can do a ground pound diagonally, which sort of works in the same way, and a few places where there's a very steep downhill, we can use that instead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Like the TAS's movement in this game is very optimized, as you can imagine, and you know, of course, it doesn't have any concerns when it comes to double tapping buttons. But when you're trying to double tap buttons in a very stressful situation where there's a lot of enemies flying about and you're trying to navigate around them. Like sometimes it can just be faster not to like dash, just because it's, you know, it's easier to navigate around a bit slower and not have to worry about bonking on things. And same goes with the air dash.
So yeah, this is the last fight with the advisor. After this, we just have the end boss, and there is a heal skip for the end boss. I don't know if you want to explain that right now, Mike, before we get there, because I'll probably need some focus time for that.
Can do. So in the next boss, it's going to be that big demon creature we've seen throughout this whole run called Gaul. And he has various attacks he can do. As you've seen with some previous bosses, their health bar can kind of like shield and become blue for a bit. However, generally we can lock him into a stun lock with the lightning ability. One of the attacks Gaul can do is his heal, which generally activates when he's around about 20% health or so. However, if we knock him down just beforehand and get him in a stun lock, we can completely skip that heal, which saves somewhere in the realms of 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. And my PB, which is the world record, actually doesn't even get it. So there was a chance today that if I got it, that we would set a new record. There still is a chance though, but I practiced it and let's see if I can get it. So here goes. Time is not when the boss dies, by the way.
Yeah, I'll announce time when we're getting, well, I'll let you guys know when time is when we're near it.
Okay, so far so good. Okay, I should get it. Yeah, got it. Whew, okay.
Nice, well done.
That was stressful.
So now Spyro is going to turn to Dark Spyro, and he just basically becomes invincible and does a lot of damage. And we just need to beat up a few just kind of like enemies that are just walking around. And time will be when we defeat the last one of those. That's just when the camera pans over. And LoveBot, you need to chat that out.
Yeah, I'll try and call time as soon as I see it happening. So yeah, we need to kill... I haven't really counted it. I only counted it once and I counted to 31, but I'm thinking it might be just 30 of these enemies that you have to kill before the run ends. There we go, time. Okay. We just missed world record by 3 seconds.
Oh, dude, really?
Yeah.
Still, that was a fantastic run though.
Yeah, I was almost a full minute behind coming up to Advisor 1, so it was actually insane that we clawed all that time back. Whew, but yeah, that was The Legend of Spyro, the Eternal Night for the Game Boy Advance. I hope you enjoyed the run. And I actually don't know what's up next on the schedule.
It is Super Monkey Ball 2.
That would be Super Monkey Ball, yeah.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your marathon, and thank you so much for having me. My name was LoveBot, and I was joined by City Romatron on